This is so fun. We are gonna go through my entire matcha collection today. But first, we have to make a matcha latte, of course. And voila, here we have a matcha latte with some cinnamon bun cold foam on top. And extra ice as always. Now that we have my fun matcha drink, we are gonna go through my entire current matcha powder collection. And some of these I haven't tried before, but I still wanted to share it with you guys because I will be trying them out next, and they're just in my current matcha powder collection. We have quite a few, and I just wanna put a disclaimer out there. I go through an insane amount of matcha throughout the day and throughout the week just because it is my full-time job. So I do make a lot of matcha and hojicha recipes, which requires a lot of matcha powder and hojicha powder. So that is why I can have a lot of these open, is because I will go through them really quickly. So they're still really fresh, and a lot of them I go through quickly. That's why I just have a lot of them. So that explains that. I'm not trying to hoard matcha or anything. It's just I do go through them quickly. I do a lot for YouTube as well, as you guys see in my taste testing ones. But anyways, disclaimer. And I also, just a tip for you guys, I do keep them in the fridge. I get a lot of questions about why I keep it in there, and it's mainly because where I live is very hot and humid, and the environment that you live in has an effect on the matcha powder because it's so delicate. So putting it in the fridge helps to kind of preserve it, and it helps to lock in the freshness a little bit more than having it outside. So if you also live in an area where it's hot or humid, I would suggest it because I've seen it personally just keep it fresher for longer. And yeah, even if you don't live in a hot place, I would still do that. I would suggest it, and I tell people every time they open it to put it in the fridge just to protect it, because you want the freshest matcha possible. So with that being said, let's just get into it. We're gonna kind of go speedily through them and just kind of describe it, not as in-depth as my other videos, just because I don't want this entire video to be hours long. So I also have my notes on my phone just so I don't forget the blends that I've tried. Where do I start? Okay, you know what? Let's just... All right, okay. Starting off, we have matcha.com. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard me talk about this brand and this company, but they're seriously some of the best matcha powders quality-wise. They have amazing quality matchas. They have different blends as well, but my personal favorite is the First Harvest. That's why I have it in this humongous 80-gram tin. But I also have their other, so I also have other blends of theirs right now. I have the Tenchi Organic. This is another good one. And then also a small one of the First Harvest because I am almost out of this 80 grams, so I needed a restock. But as you can see, I love matcha.com. I've actually been using their matcha powder since 3 years ago maybe. I started with them and just started using their matcha powders, and I really like it. I feel like they're so consistent and such a good quality that you really can't go wrong with any of the blends. Honestly, I've tried every single one of them and I think they're all good in their own way. It just depends on what type of notes that you like and prefer. So for me, I really like roasted, and I feel like the First Harvest has really good roasted notes. I feel like the Tenchi Organic is a little bit more grassy and a little bit more vegetal, but I think it's still really good quality. It's top tier, honestly. You really can't go wrong with them. Next one, let's do ippodo because I love ippodo. I heart ippodo. Okay, so currently right now I have their I think this is the Horai, yeah, the Horai blend, and then their seasonal Tsukikage, and this is the autumn seasonal matcha blend that they have out. So ippodo, they are one of my literal like OG matcha brands that I've tried when I first started really getting into matcha, and I talk about their brand all the time, similar to matcha.com, but similar to the matcha.com, all of ippodo's blends are amazing and they're so high quality. So really you cannot go wrong with any blend that you try. Even like their cheapest one, I think is still really good quality. Again, it just depends on like your preference of like boldness, of, you know, like what notes you specifically like. So for me, my favorites are their sayaka and their uman, and I actually really like their seasonal favorites. So if you ever get the opportunity, get on it and purchase their seasonal favorites, because their spring one and their autumn one that I tried, they're both amazing. Where we at? Let's do another current favorite of mine that I love absolutely. So this is the brand Hawa Matcha. They are a newer matcha brand on the scene, but guys, this is a good one. And the first time I ever tried this brand, I was really like taken aback just because of how unique and complex their notes are. Like they truly have such a distinct note to each of the blends. Like sometimes I feel like with certain matcha brands, you can't tell a difference between the blends. Like they all just kind of taste the same or like one note, but this brand is amazing. And I would say this is probably maybe for like more advanced drinkers, or maybe like intermediate, I would say. Maybe beginner, I would stay away from this just for right now until you guys get more like affiliated with like more different matcha tastes, just because I think this has such a bold flavor and the notes are really unique. So I tried their Asahi blend and it literally tasted like uni sushi. And it wasn't my favorite, but I think for people who really like umami and salty taste, like you should definitely try that Asahi one. And that's what I mean, it's very unique. So the Semidori blend, this one is very grassy, very refreshing, and it has like a hint of floral notes to it that I experienced. And I really like this one because of the bold flavor. But typically I'm not very like a vegetal or like grassy note type of girl. I'm more like roasted. So this one wasn't like my top favorite of theirs, but it is still really good. And if you do like more of that like floral notes, like refreshing notes, there's like slight lemon taste to it, I think you should try this one. But my favorite of their brand is the ceremonial blend. And this one is so good because it's roasted, and I love roasted notes, and if you love roasted notes, you should definitely try this one. And I love that it has such a bold matcha flavor, so the matcha flavor does not get lost in the milk, and I think it carries such a good roasted like nutty note to it, and it's also very creamy as well. So this is the brand Kyohayashiya. This is a newer brand that I found off of Amazon. So I tried this Gion blend that I found on Amazon, and I was digging through what matcha stuff they had, and I found this one, and I was like, okay, it's a pretty decent price, I'm just gonna try it out. But this is a really good quality matcha. I would say it's not as bold, it's not as bold as like these other ones right here, but I think it has a good matcha flavor. It's very mild. I tried the Gion blend, and then they actually reached out and wanted to send me their Kohata blend, which is this one. And out of these two, I actually prefer the Gion blend a lot more, because the Gion one to me was sweeter and almost like lemon vanilla cake like. That's what I experienced, especially drinking it as a latte. This one was for sure sweeter to me, and this one was good. I think it's just more on the vegetal like grassy side, which I typically don't gravitate towards. But again, like if you are a beginner in matcha, I think this is a great place to start, because they also have different blends. This is the $150 matcha brand. This is the brand Sense of Matcha, and you guys saw me try the Revi one, and this one's the $150 one. And then they actually sent me also the Ikigai blend, and this one, hold on, I think this one is cheaper. So the Revi one, I actually really like, and kind of like I explained in my other videos, it's a very like luxurious matcha, and it tastes like that. Like every time I drink it, it's very luxurious, and it just has such a nice bold matcha flavor. It's so creamy, it's so smooth. It really is like a treat matcha powder. Like I wouldn't use this every day just because, like, one, the price point, but also it is very like luxurious. This Ikigai one, this one, you can tell that it's not as high of a quality as the Revi blend, and you can tell in like the color and as well as the taste. This one's like not as luxurious, but I still think it's very good. This one was a little bit more vegetal and a little bit more grassy. There's like a slight bitterness to this one, but what I appreciate about both of these blends and like their line of matcha is that when I drink it, I experience like the opposite of what I typically experience with matchas, like where it starts out really bold and then kind of like trickles out. But these like start off really soft and like mellow, but then they increase in like the boldness and the time that it lingers like on my tongue, which I appreciate because I feel like it's a longer lasting like matcha taste, and you get like that creamy yumminess of it that lingers more than like typical matchas that I've tried. So I really appreciate about that. So next up we have Astrid tea. We have her Okita matcha, and this one, so good. So we have this, and then I have the refillable bag, but this is such a good matcha for your everyday drinking and like your everyday lattes. It's such a good quality, and I think it has just the right amount of like matcha flavor, like a nice boldness to it. It's very smooth, it's creamy. I would describe this as like a sweet potato chip. Like that's the note that I experience. It's not like super salty, but it's also not super sweet. So I think it's like a balance of like the good umami and then like a slight sweetness to it, making like the perfect taste for matcha. And I just love the way it tastes, and it's such good quality. Next up we have Junbi, and they did this really cute collaboration with Miffy. So we have this really cute tin with Miffy on it. This brand is okay. I personally I wouldn't buy this, but I was kindly gifted this for their collaboration, but I wouldn't like choose to buy this just because this one is like there's barely any matcha flavor when I drink it as a latte, and it doesn't really have any notes that stand out. It's a very tame matcha, and they have like a cafe as well, and I've tried their drinks there, but I can never taste the matcha. It just really tastes like milk, but I thought it was just, you know, maybe they don't put enough. So when I actually got to try their matcha at home, I put a lot, and it just didn't taste like matcha to me. So I would say it's a very mild matcha. I wouldn't really recommend this one. It's cute, but yeah. Okay, next up we have sorate. Next we have sorate. Sorry, I know I was mispronouncing it in my other videos, but sorate, I believe that's how you say it. Again, this is another top matcha brand of mine that I will recommend, and I love specifically their kusue blend. This is their matcha super premium one, and this one it's so good. It is so good. It's such a dreamy matcha. Like really, I have to pace myself with this one because one, it's more pricier than like a normal matcha, but two, it's so good, and it's really easy to drink, and yeah, I have to pace myself. Like I really have to pace myself with this one because it's so good. It's such a high quality matcha. And like when they say super premium, it is very super premium. It's very smooth, very creamy, has like a slight umami to it, and it's just very well balanced. They also have other blends that I've tried. I've tried their hikisho one, and I also love, love, love their hojicha. It's definitely one of my top favorites. Next up we have hikari matcha, and I love the packaging and design of this brand. Like it's so elegant. This one, in terms of taste, this one, it was a little bit tart, like kind of like grapefruit. And when you know, like eat like grapefruit, there's kind of like that like dry mouth feeling. Similar to like wine, I would say you get that experience when you drink this matcha powder. Like there's I think like a kind of residual like dryness of the mouth taste, and it's kind of grassy. It's a little bit bitter. I feel like that's the main taste that I experience when drinking this. It does have a good punch. Like there's a good bite to it in terms of like the matcha intensity. Also the smell and the aroma of this powder, it smells like cocoa and it's delicious. I don't think I've ever smelled a matcha powder that smelled like cocoa powder. Next up we have mellow matcha. Isn't this packaging so cute? I love it. This is another one that was kindly sent to me, but I actually really like this blend and it has grown on me from when I initially tried it. I really like it as a matcha latte more than like an usucha or koicha, just because I think it has a better taste to it when it's as a latte. But this one I feel like kind of like the name of the company, mellow matcha, it is a bit milder. It's not super bold, but I think it has a great matcha flavor and it would make a great like everyday matcha powder to use. Notes that I experienced the most out of this one was creamy, grassy, and astringent. So that is what you can experience with this one. Next up, we have kurasu Kyoto sui matcha powder. This is the one that I found off of Etsy, and I think that's insane for me to say, but this is a winner. Again, I have added this to my list of all-time favorite matcha powder brands. And I believe they're also known for having really good coffee. And a lot of you guys have are actually familiar with this brand, so I guess they're very well known. I've never heard about them until I tried this, but this one is delicious. This one, in terms of taste, it is perfectly creamy, super smooth with just the right of umami. This is super well balanced and is really easy to drink. Next up, we have ikomiki. This is their Enda Matcha Suen blend, and this is one that was kindly gifted to me as well. So the taste profiles that really stood out to me for this blend is creaminess, umami, and nuttiness. And again, you guys know I like a roasted nutty profile, and this one was more nutty than it was roasted, and it was slightly more umami. But this one reminded me of like dark chocolate, like when you eat a really dark chocolate and that taste that you experience, like some of that creaminess of it, that's what I experienced when I tried this one. And I'm really amazed by this one. This one actually won like in a taste in 2024 for something, but yeah, I think this one is really good. And it's like a smaller brand that I've never heard of before, but now it is on my radar and I think this is a really good one. Next up, we have this one, and this is the haijiro matcha. And this is from Amazon, actually. This is another Amazon find of mine. For this haijiro matcha, as a sucha, I experienced notes of creaminess. This was medium bodied, a little bit umami. And this one did have like a lingering bitter ending. So there was some like bitterness to this. But as a latte, the matcha flavor carried through, hence like the medium bodiness. So I appreciate that in a latte. This one also kind of gave me like a dry mouth feeling, like similar to drinking wine and what I talked about, like the grapefruit. So like that lingering taste on my tongue was a little bit more astringent. But I think this is a really good one from Amazon, and the color is amazing. Like this one I gave it a 5 out of 5 in terms of color. It's kind of hard to see, but it has a great color. And I feel like, yeah. And it's just, I think this is a really good one, especially, yeah, maybe for more intermediate, just because there is like a bitterness and astringency to it that may like scare away people who are just trying matcha for the first time. But again, bitterness and astringency aren't bad things. Like, I think we run away from like bitter things, but sometimes I do appreciate like some bitterness, some astringency in the matcha, because I feel like it adds to the entire like experience of tasting it. So if bitterness isn't your thing, or like astringency, then maybe not this one. But if you can appreciate it like I do, then. Next up, we have Naoki's Chiran Harvest from the Masters Collection Matcha. And this one, I feel like the packaging just like looks so like elegant. Like, this makes sense why it's like a Masters Collection matcha. But I think Naoki is actually another brand that I've tried a while back, and I really enjoyed their different blends. I like their Chiran Harvest. This one is a little bit more high quality than their like normal blends or like their other blends. In terms of taste, this one was really smooth, and it also had like hints of nuttiness to it. So like I could taste a little bit of that nutty notes in it. So I really like that. But again, I feel like it's very basic. Like, there was nuttiness and there was like creaminess to it. And I feel like the matcha flavor was okay. It wasn't super bold. It's more like medium level, I would say. But yeah, I think this is a good one for beginners as well. Next, we have this Yamamasa Koyamaen Tenuzan blend, and my friend got me this from Japan. I've seen a lot of people talk about this brand, and I've been seeing this like specific tin like all over my like For You pages. But I never got the opportunity to try it. So I got to try this one, and this one's crazy. Like, this one has a crazy taste to it. I feel like that's the best way I can describe it. The matcha flavor is crazy. I think that's why it's crazy to me, because it's such a bold matcha, but then it also lingers for a really long time. Like, the matcha flavor is pretty intense in this one. So if you cannot, like, if you are at a beginner level, maybe stay away from the Tenuzan blend, because this one, crazy. Like, crazy in a good way, and I really enjoyed this one, but I can see it being too intense for some people, because the matcha flavor is really strong and it lasts a really long time, and it still kind of like keeps that bold taste. But in terms of like other tastes, this was like, I could see like hints of like chocolate, and not chocolate taste, but more of like the creaminess like after you eat the chocolate. You know, like that experience like after you eat like a piece of chocolate and like on your tongue it's like creamy. Like, that's how I would describe this one. And then next up, these are the ones that I haven't tried and they aren't open yet, but I want to share with you anyway. Rocky's Matcha, you guys already know, this is a favorite of mine, but I haven't tried these specific blends, and they actually sent this over to me to try. So this one is their Oishi blend, and this one is their Sujiki blend. So I have not tried these, but I'm really excited to, because I've tried, I think, majority of Rocky's Matcha's blend. Tried their ceremonial one, like their Asahi, their Goku, Uji Hikari, and their Hojicha as well. But I know that they come out with different blends. So I haven't tried these ones yet, but Rocky's Matcha, they are top tier. They're a favorite of mine. My favorites for them is the Asahi blend. The Asahi and the Uji Hikari, if you ever get a chance to try those, do it. I know they're expensive, but if you like creaminess and like sweetness, those are the ones for you, and I promise they're like worth your money. Yedoensis Matcha. They also kindly sent this to me after I reviewed their Hojicha. So they sent me like their line of matcha. There's also Gen Matcha that I'm actually excited to try, because I kind of want to make a latte with that. But this one I haven't tried yet, but I really like their Hojicha powder. That one is a favorite of mine. It's delicious, so I'm excited to try their matcha. And then lastly, we have, this is so cute. It's a cow. This is Moocha Matcha, and the owner reached out to me and asked if they could send me their matcha to try. So I said yes, and I'm excited to try this one. Also, it's so cute. It's a cow. that was a lot of matcha, a lot of yapping about matcha. That is it for this video. Let me know in the comments which one you want to try, or which one you have tried before and loved, or which brands you want me to try next to add to my current matcha collection. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!